What is the thing that you think all people want the most, but they're also the most afraid of?
Love. Yeah, I think that's what everyone really wants the most. Like they want a kind of perfect and unconditional love. And
why are they afraid of love?
Because they're afraid that they're not going to get the true love that they long for. You know, like you described it, right? Like 6 months, you got a great 6 months, you got a great run, and then you hit that wall.
Yes.
And probably that wall would come with a huge sense of like a crushing disappointment, right? Like I had love and now I don't.
Now it's gone, and how do I get back to it?
Yeah.
It's always like, how do I get back to that?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what people are fundamentally longing for.
How can people get to a place of fully loving themselves and feeling whole so that they have that unconditional love with themselves all the time and they don't need to seek it in someone else or something else?
Right. One of the important things that I think most people need to do is internalize their parent. Like the parent, you can pick your mother or father, whoever it was who most represented like a deep love to you. Or if you didn't have such a parent, it doesn't have to be even someone you know, it could be like the Virgin Mary, it could be like a representation of love. And to really internalize that being, that essence as part of you and carry it with you where you go, and be able to speak to yourself in the words of that nurturant parent figure, especially when you need it most. And ultimately you'll need it less and less because it'll just become absorbed into you. But
so what would that look
I think
like?
really to literally be able to speak to yourself the way a parent would speak to a kid who needs encouragement.
Yeah.
Like literally say the words. And like if your parent figure spoke to you, or you wish they had spoken to you with specific terms of endearment, use those terms of endearment for yourself. No one has to hear you do it, but do it in your mind or write it down. Speak to yourself that way until it becomes part of you.
How long does it take for someone to get whole?
I think it depends where they're starting from, and we're all on the journey to some degree forever.
Is there a process? If someone's saying, I feel like I'm a half a person, or I feel like I'm a fracture of who I should be, what would you say is the process or the method they could take to start rebuilding, reshaping their identity or worth to where they feel, oh, I'm a whole person and I can feel a wide range of emotions and that's okay?
Yeah, I'd say little by little by little, like just the way we were saying with the public speaking, to just take it like one step every single day, whatever it is. And it's hard to speak in generalities because everyone's lack of wholeness looks very different. But, like if your thing is a fear, take one little step in the direction of like overcoming that fear.
Yeah.
Or if your thing is not being able to open up to people, let's say, because you're afraid of what might happen. If you really open up, take one little step every day, have a little bit more openness.
I like that. It's interesting. When I started opening up about trauma as a child, I remember I did it in a workshop first to a group of people that I didn't really know, right?
Yeah.
It was the scariest thing I'd ever done, but I was also like, okay, I may never see these people again.
Right.
So who cares, right? It took a lot of courage to do, and it was after 2 weekends with this group of people. But afterwards, I remember saying, oh, shoot, okay, how do I tell this to my family or my best friends? They may disown me, or they may judge me, or who knows, and that's a scary thing to open up and say how I feel. And I remember talking to a therapist friend at the time. I said, what do I do in this situation? She said, go to the person you feel like will receive this the most first. You feel like it's the most open.
Yeah.
Don't say this to the person who's going to be resistant to hearing it first. To the person you feel most open to build baby steps, just like you were talking about. And ask each family member, ask them this question first to see if it's appropriate to tell them. Ask them, is there anything that I could ever do or say that would make me not love you? Or that would make you not love me? So is there anything I could ever do or say that would make you not love me? And ask them that first and see how they respond. And so I started asking my family members one by one this question. I said, hey, I've got something I want to share, but is there anything but I'm kind of nervous. I'm nervous to share with you. I feel really raw right now. And I want to know, is there anything that I could ever do or say in my life that would make you not love me? And each one of them were like, absolutely not. There's nothing, right? So and then it gave me permission one by one to build that courage to feel like I'm healing that relationship with myself and with them by revealing it. So I think that approach, it worked for me. So I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, and then you got to the point where you shared it with the public, and you couldn't say to the public, is there anything that I could do that would make you not love me? But it must be that by that point, you loved yourself enough that you didn't need to ask that question.
I loved myself enough, and I knew that I had my friends and family there. Even if the world hated me, or thought I was a loser or something, I was like, okay, well, at least I've got my friends and family. And I was like, I need to do this because if it could help one person heal, it would be worth it. Even if I lose everything in my business, it would be worth it. And I also thought myself, I have a responsibility because the more I started to study this, the more I realized that men everywhere were suffering. 1 in 6 men had been abused. That's the statistic in America, 1 in 6 men. It's 1 in 4 for women, which is obviously more. But women in general have a place to share and have a place to have support to talk about it. Whereas I didn't know any man who had talked about it. And so men were just suffering and then using anger as their way to share and express themselves. I was thinking if men could have a place to share this pain without anger, or through anger in a healthy way, then men could heal and relationships could heal in the world as well. And I was like, if I don't do that, then I know I have the ability to potentially help someone, and I'm not doing it because I'm scared. And then it was like this nagging thing for 6 months. It was like, you got to do this.
And so after 6 months, you kind of like
after 6 months, then I
went over the cliff.
I remember I recorded a session. I called Jonathan Fields. I said Jonathan, and I called Glennon Doyle. And I asked her for some advice as well on this. And I called Jonathan. I said, listen, I'm thinking about doing this, and will you interview me or will you guide me talking about it on my show? So that I can get it out there, because he's a very spiritual, grounded human being. I was like, can you just create a safe space for me to talk about it and ask me questions and guide me? Because I was like, I don't know how to do this on my own. So I reached out to him, he helped me, and then I reached out to Glennon. And then I waited another 3 months after I recorded it, because I was just, should I put this out there, Glennon Doyle helped me like write the article and the whole thing to put it out there, because I didn't want it to go out in a way that was anything but in service.
I
was like, I didn't want people to think it was some ulterior motive. I was just like, here's what I'm doing. I want to help men and create a space. But I like your approach, your method of like baby steps until you feel more whole and love yourself more and feel comfortable before you take the bigger steps.